Hey y'all, and welcome to Monter's Market, and welcome to my roses are pink video. I have to say that my last two videos have been probably my favorite Valentine's, that is. And DIY number one, I am literally in love with. So let's hush talking and get right into it. I am going to make this adorable little riser. Now, I know I've made a couple of risers recently, but they're all different. And it's just a way to give you ideas. But look at this truck, y'all. All I did was Googled pink roses, and this came up. So it was a free printable, and I was like, oh my gosh, what can I do? What can I do with it? And I chose this thing that I got from Hobby Lobby. It was $2.99. I got it for $1.50, and I thought I could put it on top of it. These legs right here came from Woodpecker Crafts. I am a affiliate of theirs, and that's something that they sent me. I'm going to paint all of the wood in the antique wax, and then I'm going to go back over the top of the legs, as you'll see in a few minutes, with the white. But back to the picture, I just Googled pink roses. That was one of them, and I printed it out, and you can put it in a frame. Like, in my opinion, it is beautiful. Yeah, baby. Beautiful enough to be framed. So if you have a really pretty frame that you like, stick it in a frame. Or you could put it on one of the hearts, you know, the wooden hearts that are out at the Dollar Tree right now. There are the plain wooden hearts, and then there's the wooden hearts that are like slats that have like a little bit of room in between them. Like, there's so many things that you can do with that picture, but I chose to put it on top of this riser because when it comes to Valentine's Day, I do a lot of baking, and I need something to present the things on top of. It's usually cupcakes or cookies or something like that, and this riser is absolutely perfect to put something like that on top of. So back to how I'm painting it. Like I said, I'm covering everything in the antique wax, wiping it down with a baby wipe. And then for the legs, I wanted to go back in with some white Waverly chalk paint and give it just like a distressed coat of the white chalk paint, just to give it a little more rustic farmhouse feel. And I think it gives it a little more character when you use two different colors. And especially with the wood, the white distressed look, to me, just looks gorgeous when you're dealing with farmhouse stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm placing my picture on top of my wood, and I'm sort of rubbing around it, see how it gave me like the outline. Now I'm going to cut it out, but I'm not going to cut it out right dead on it, because if I were to cut it too small at any portion, then I'm going to mess myself up. So always make sure you cut it out just a little bit too big. Then I'm going to take my Mod Podge, and I'm going to cover the whole top of my little tray. And I put way too much on it in the beginning, so I took a lot of it back off and just tried to get as even coat as possible. I rubbed it down, added some heat, because the heat takes out all of the bubbles, and there's several ways that you can heat it up. But my heat, excuse me, my throat is wanting to be crazy right now. My heat gun gets super duper hot, so it worked perfect. Then, as always, I take my little sponge and I go around and just sand it down. And it just, like I said before in the past, it just gives you the most beautiful, perfect edge. And once you get that done, you want to go back over the entire top with this Mod Podge, because it's going to do two things. Like I've said before, it's going to seal in your picture so that, you know, if you were to spill water on it or anything like that, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to start melting and take the color away or anything like that, because it's going to be protected. And then by going on down to the wood, it just gives everything the same finish, and it just looks more professional. It just gives it more of a store-bought look, if you will. So after I got that done, look at that. It's just gorgeous. Look, you can't tell me that's not beautiful. I love, love, love it. So now I'm going to put my little feet on, and you'll probably notice, like I did when I was doing this, I forgot to paint or stain one of the bottoms of the feet. I did go back in after, right there, that one right there. I did go back in and stain it, because even though nobody will probably ever see it but me, like it drove me crazy. But look what it turned out like when it was done. Tell me down in the comments what you think about this picture of this little pink truck with these pink roses. I'm telling you, this picture right here is what set the theme for my entire video. Plus the fact that last week my DIYs were done with pink roses. And I think it kind of sort of all coordinates together, and I just love it. The paper that I used last week, I have had so many comments on. We'll talk about more of that in just a minute. But look at this. Look at this sign, y'all. When I got it at the Dollar Tree, this is what it looked like. It is abso-freaking-lutely stunning, gorgeous. But I didn't like the middle. I mean, it's cute. Love you to the moon and back. A lot of people say that. It's not something that I say. Me and my girls say, I love you bigger than the sky, from the ground up to Jesus. But a lot of people say love you to the moon and back. But it just looked a little bit tacky maybe. Now I love the saying. I'm not saying I'm against the saying. I'm just saying that the picture itself just looked a little tacky in the middle part. But the top and the bottom, oh my gosh, those pink roses are absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to go in with my plaster after you saw me sort of tape off the edges. And I was really, really careful because there was a fine little dark line at the top and the bottom. And I tried to be really, really careful so that I didn't cover that up with the paint. And believe it or not, I nailed it, y'all. When I pulled that paint off, it was perfect. I didn't cover up one tiny spot on the top or the bottom of that. And I mean, when I tell you it was thin, it was a thin line, but it worked right there. I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of going so fast, but I was so proud of myself that I didn't cover that because it just separated everything and made it perfect. Now I am going to take this transfer here from Chalk Couture, and it's called Love You Forever. You can purchase it. I will leave the link in the description below if you're interested in that or anything else that Chalk Couture has to offer. They have, I think it's this Friday if I'm not mistaken, their spring line coming out, and that I cannot wait for that, y'all. It is, I have so much of this stuff and I gotta quit buying it because everything's so beautiful to me. Now that is my pesto. Y'all know that that's my favorite green with Chalk Couture. And I'm just going to do the L, the V, and the E because I have something different in mind for the O. Now I'm going to go in with the same pesto for In the Air. And I'm going to chalk that in the pesto. And I love the way it turned out. Now for the O, look at that. Oh, yes. For the O, always make sure, too, that you clean your transfers immediately after you use them. Because if you look at that transfer right there, you can't even tell that it's been used. And if you take good care of your transfers, they will last you over and over and over and over. Now this pink paint right here, I mixed it for something else and had this left over, and it was perfect color for that heart. So I just painted the little heart, and I thought about maybe putting one of these roses in the middle, but the roses were so big it almost completely covered the whole heart. So what I did, I was going to take this little piece of the transfer, and if you look at it, it's a heart and it's got little polka dots on it. Well, that was cute. And in my head, I was just going to be putting polka dots on the heart. But when I put it down, what I actually would have done is covered the whole heart, and it would have went from pink to green, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted the contrast of the green and the pink. And then I made me a little finger bow, which I thought was too stinking cute, and put right in the middle of that heart. And that sort of finished that part of the sign off. And then it had this cute little hanger, but I thought, you know what? It would be perfect to add just some little beads to it because y'all know the last few videos I've done, I'm so into these beads. So I took the red one and I covered it with the pesto and made it green. And then that pink was cute. But I just thought it would be nice to go with a little bit darker pink so that the colors would jive together. Now, I know there is some light pink in it, but when I put the dark green up against that lighter pink, it just sort of, I don't know, it just washed it out or whatever. So I wanted to go a little bit darker with that pink. So all I'm going to do is just thread them on. and then tie my knot back at the top, take my little piece of tape off, and this picture is done, and I am so in love with it. It was already beautiful whenever I got it, but I think just that little bit of a facelift just brought it up 10 notches, and I love it. Look how cute those beads are on that sign. And those roses, my Lord, look how cute that turned out. Isn't that adorable? I love me some chalk couture. You can never go wrong with it. And look how crisp and clean they always come out. Look at those roses, y'all. Oh, I'm so in love with this. Isn't that beautiful? Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this sign and the way it turned out. Now, for DIY number 3, I am in love with this little book stack. I think it is just absolutely gorgeous. I got this book stack at the Dollar Tree, and it's a good little book stack. It's about 8 inches wide, and it was decorated okay. But that strip you see, that black and white buffalo check, that was actually painted on there. And it was cute, but I just wanted to change it up a little bit. So I sanded it down where I pulled that little bow off. It had a little bit of a rough spot there. And then I covered it in white Waverly chalk paint. I went over the whole thing, I want to say twice. And it didn't take a whole lot to cover it up, but I just wanted it to be a really nice coat of white. I didn't want anything to be peeking through my paint. So I did go over it twice and gave it a paint job. Look at this ribbon, y'all. I got this ribbon at Hobby Lobby. It was regular $8.99. I got it on sale for 60% off. Then I took the moss paint, and I'm trying to keep this, the whole theme together. So I took the moss and I did the second line around the box. And it was a little bit kind of a sloppy paint job, so you'll see me go back in just a few minutes and fix that. But once I finished the moss, I took that same pink paint that I had mixed up. I used crimson, a little bit of antique wax, and plaster, and I mixed them all together. And that's how I came up with that. I don't even know what color to call it. It's too light to be called maroon, but it's too dark to be called a pink. So tell me what color you would call it down in the comments below. But I love the way it turned out. Like I don't know, it's just a real pretty pink. And then I went across the bottom and painted that. And then once I did that, I was like, you know what, that's sloppy. So I took my white and I took a tiny, tiny little paintbrush, and I just went back over all of the rough spots and just evened it up. And it was perfect again. Then I took that gorgeous not tape, but ribbon, and wrapped it around, and I glued it down. And look at this. This is from the Dollar Tree. It is full. It is beautiful. I love the coloring of it, and oh my heavens, I bought me as many as they had. Now these little flowers here, I got at Hobby Lobby. They were regularly $2.99. Again, because it was Valentine's, I got it for 60% off. Such a deal. And I could have left that box like that, but I wanted to add a little bit more. So I'm going in with my peony and this little transfer from last year's Valentine's minis. And I'm going to cover all of the little roses pink because that's our theme. And then I'm going to go with the pesto and fill in all of those little leaves. I am so sorry about my throat and my voice, y'all. I'm from Florida, and we're used to 70s and 80s for the winter, and it's been getting down into the 20s and 30s, and we're not used to that, and my throat's not used to that. So just going in and out, going back and forth to work, my voice has gotten all scratchy and cranky from being in the cold so much. So I'm not sick. It may sound like it, but I'm not. My throat is just not used to all this cold air. Now this is our black, and this is another little mini from that same transfer last year. And it says love is in the air. And I just thought that was a cute little saying. So I'm going in with my black paint, or black paste, should I say. And I'm going to fill that in. And you see that I am going in between each one, and I am washing my transfer before I come back and put it back down. That's because sometimes that paste can seep through the bottom and get on the part that would actually lay on my book stack. And I wanted to make sure that nothing came off on it and messed it up. Now, these are the little hearts that I just went back in and put on, and that finished it off. And look how stinking cute that is, y'all. I love this. I think it's just too stinking adorable. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this little book stack. Do you decorate with book stacks? It's not something that I really have done a lot until I started DIYing and watching everybody make them. And I thought, you know what, those are stinking cute. So, and this one was only $1.25. But let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Now this, y'all, I am so in love with this little tic-tac-toe game. I got it at the Family Dollar for $3. If you don't know, Family Dollar has bought out the Dollar Tree. So they have a lot of the same stuff now. So, you know, it being wood, I fell in love with it. And I was going to stain it, but I thought, you know what, Brenda, you stain everything. Do something different this time. So I went in with my white Waverly chalk paint. That came from nowhere. I am so sorry, y'all. And I painted the whole entire thing. Now, you're going to see in a few minutes where I went back over the very tip top and painted it with that pink color just to give it a little bit of color. But, oh, I didn't like it, so I ended up painting it back white. Now, this is the same paper pack that I used last week, some leftovers that I had. And I thought it would be perfect to cover these X's and O's in that paper because 3 reasons. Number one, I had it left over. Number 2, it is absolutely gorgeous. And number 3, it's going to match the rest of my Valentine stuff that I made last week. And just make sort of like all of my little Valentine's things that I'm decorating with this year all come together and just match perfectly. So all I'm doing is Mod Podging everything down. And I'm cutting kind of close to my wood. And then I'm taking my hand sander and I am sanding all of that excess paper off. Now, I am hitting each one with the heat gun, but I don't think I'm showing you on here. I may once or twice, you may see the heat gun. But what that does is that reignites, or whatever you want to call it, that glue. And it just causes it to stick to the paper better. Now, that was before I decided to paint the top of it pink. I had stopped in between, and I didn't show y'all me painting it pink because I decided to change it. But I thought you've seen that, and you still may in just a minute. But now these O's were just as easy to do as the X's. I just took my little X-Acto knife, and I cut out around the middle as close as I could. And then I took my sander, and I sanded everything down really smooth. Now, I started to paint these, or stain these with a darker stain just to give it some contrast. And I don't know, I may still go back in and do it. But let me know down in the comments if you would do that or not. But look at how cute that turned out. And it's a good size little piece, and I just love it. It matches my vignette from last week perfectly, and it's all going to come together so beautiful. So I just love this little piece. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this tic-tac-toe, and tell me which one out of all 4 of these pieces are your favorite. Mine is definitely the little truck, what do you call it? The riser, the little truck riser, specifically for the picture itself. I'm just so in love with that truck picture. But I mean, this is gorgeous too. And all I had to do, like you saw, was paint across the middle. And just add me a little bit of saying right there. Chalk Couture makes it so stinking easy to decorate anything. Now, let me tell you something. If you want to buy Chalk Couture, but you think it's too expensive, it does not cost but very much at all. Normally $99, and you get this gorgeous kit with a ton of stuff in it. But right now, if I believe now it could be still going on. For $59, you can become a Chalk Couture designer, and then you get everything 40% off all the time. And you can't beat it. And I mean, look at how much it adds to everything that you do, that you chalk on. I mean, I love it. I don't normally say a whole lot about the sales part of it. I just use it and really don't talk about, quote, selling it. You know what I mean? But it's just such a good deal. And right now they have so many beautiful things. So there's always a link in my description box of where you can go in and shop at Chalk Couture. And then there's always a separate link where you can go in and become a designer. So if you ever have any questions, give me a call. My number's always listed, or give me, send me an email. You can always DM me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm at all of those places at Monner's Market. You can always find me Monner's Market under everything. So if you are talking to me in the live, you know I love you. I'm so happy you're here. We always have the best time talking. I will see you this coming Friday because I have my OG collab that we do on the 20th of every month. But other than that, I will see you next Tuesday. As always, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Be blessed. Bye now. Hey y'all, and welcome to Monner's Market, and welcome to my high-end Shabby Chic